Hey guys, Chris Americos with you. This video is about articles. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the uses of the definite article, the indefinite article, and no article. When should we use these different articles? In which situations? There are actually some very simple rules. Before we begin, we need to talk about two different separations that we are going to make when we talk about how to use articles. The first separation that we're going to make is separation between countable and uncountable nouns. Countable noun is something that we can count. Uncountable nouns, we can't count. For more about nouns and types of nouns, check out my video about noun types. The second separation we're going to make in this video is between general meaning and specific meaning. Now, what does that really mean? That means that when we speak about something in general, it's just an example of a category. For example, when I say a table, I mean that this is one example of a category of things called table. I don't know some specific information about this table that tells me how this table is different from other tables. If I have specific information that tells me how one is different from others, then I can use the, and I can say the table. When describing the difference between general meaning and specific meaning, I like to talk about my friend Plato, the Greek philosopher. He separated ideas and concepts into two different categories. He said that there are abstract concepts that could be applied to many different real things or situations. English grammar reflects this idea. As Plato said, there's a concept of tableness, the abstract idea of being a table. It doesn't matter what language you say this word in. When you say table, or any other word in any other language that means table, in your mind you have an idea of tableness. Maybe the picture in your mind looks a lot different from the picture in my mind, but both of them are considered a table because we have an abstract concept that tells us what criteria we need for something to be a table. And we can look at another table, a real table, and see that it's in the category of table or not. Now, when we talk about articles in English, when we say that something is just one example of this category, for example, tables, then we would use a or an or no article. For example, tables are very useful. Here we don't have any specific information that tells us how some tables that are real items are different from other real tables. We don't have any of this information. We're just speaking about tables in general, about the category of the concept tables. But when I look in my kitchen and when I see one example of this thing called table, I say, I have a table. I have one example of this concept. But if I stand in my kitchen and I speak to my friend and say, put the cup on the table, this means that I'm talking about one specific example of a table that we understand is different from other examples of table. In this case, it's the only table in the room, or it's the closest table to my friend. There is some context that allows me and my friend to understand how one table is different from all others. In this situation, we can use the definite article the, and it shows a specific meaning. So when I talk about general meanings and specific meanings, this is what I'm talking about. We can use the article a or an, the indefinite article, before singular countable nouns. For example, dog, a dog. We can count the word dog. One dog, two dogs, three dogs. And when we want to talk about one dog, we can say a dog. We also use the articles a or an to talk about something that has a general meaning. So when I say a dog, we don't know how one specific dog is different from other dogs. We just know that it's one example from the category of dog. We don't use an article before plural countable nouns. So if we say dogs, we don't use an article. For example, Dogs are great pets. Here we have a general meaning, not specific, which means that we don't know how one specific group of dogs is different from other dogs. We don't know this, so we don't use an article. We're speaking about dogs in general, maybe all dogs. We also don't use an article when we're talking about uncountable nouns, and when we want to show that they have a general meaning. For example, the word water. The word water is uncountable. I want water. We don't say I want a water. I want water. Water is uncountable, so we use no article to show that it has a general meaning. It's not one specific type of water, it's just water. One example of the category of water. Now let's talk about the definite article, the. We can use the definite article with any noun. Countable, uncountable, singular, plural, it's not important. We can use it with everything. But when we use the definite article, it gives this noun a specific meaning. To find out more about why we use articles and in which situations we use articles, watch the rest of the videos in my article video series. I hope this video helped you learn something new, and if it did, make sure you press like, subscribe to my channel, and write a comment down below. Until next time, it's Chris Americos.